Well, obviously it's a happy day for myself and my family and our players to have some continuity moving forward. Really honored to be entrusted with what this program is and means to a lot of different people. Very proud for that, and we have a rich tradition program here, and looking to continue to uphold those kinds of things and make a lot of people proud. So certainly the first work to get done here is re-recruiting the players that are in the transfer portal, and making sure we communicate with all our current players and all our recruits as well. So exciting times. Again, thankful to Troy Dannon for this opportunity and the trust in this kind of a program. So very exciting times.
Coach, how have these last few weeks been for you? I know it's kind of all been a whirlwind, but just kind of how have these last few weeks been for you personally?
Crazy in a lot of different ways. 25 years in this business. My first job was as a head coach, and I've waited 23 long years to get this opportunity again. So, there's at some point you feel like it's never going to happen. But as I tell the players, there's certain things that you can control and you can't control, and that's my effort every single day, my mentality, my will to want to help them become the best versions of themselves. And so, I think when you operate from those principles and you do the very best to honor the players and their development, eventually the game will reward you, and that's where we're at today. So just really, again, honored to be a part of this thing.
Can you kind of go through the process of maybe the end of the East Carolina game until yesterday, and what it was like for you, and maybe hit on some of the high points in that process? Sure.
I'm going to try to deflect it to the players and how they felt in the situation that we were in. It was an emotional time for all of us. The end of the season was there. Some guys will never put on another baseball uniform. I was so proud of those guys for emptying their tanks and giving us everything that they had. They had every reason not to roll over and play dead, but they didn't do that. So I think that's a tribute to them and their relationships that they've created, which now is my responsibility to try to hold on to, and that's going to be a great challenge. But there's a process with a coaching search, and a lot of respect for how Troy went about doing it. He tried his very best to start out getting who he thought was the very best candidate for this, and I think I was in that. I was certainly in that pool, but we had to go through a certain process. And so when you go through those kinds of processes, all you can do is control your attitude. I took this like I was the head coach. I tried to act that way, tried to guide our players that way. And I think if you think anything less than that, you're setting yourself up for failure. So you have an opportunity, you try to take a hold of that opportunity. And, I was the in-house candidate. That was a blessing and a curse. But ultimately, at the end of the day, Troy got the right guy for the job, and I believe that, and our players believe that, and the thing about that is we're going to need to prove that every single day. It's not about words, it's not about saying what you're going to do, it's about what you do is going to be the most important piece to this whole puzzle.
Do you think how hard the team played in Clearwater helped you?
I absolutely do. Yeah, they left it all out there, and it wasn't, hey, play hard for me to have a chance at this job. I just think it was a new opportunity and to have a direction at the end that was not saying necessarily better, but just different, and sometimes when you have to make changes, sometimes those things work out in a positive direction. And I think it was an audition, and I think had we gone out there and not played well, I don't think I'd be standing in front of you right now. But the fact that those kids laid it on the line and didn't roll over really gave me an opportunity to be standing here.
Most of the members of the freshman class entered the transfer portal while there was uncertainty, and a lot of other guys on the team did too. How confident are you in that you'll be able to convince those guys to come back?
Well, it's gonna be recruiting all over again. So I can't sit here and tell you that every single guy is going to return. there are going to be, of our guys in that portal, I'm going to be fighting off the SEC and the ACC and the Big 12, and schools saw what kind of players those young men are and what kind of people that they are. And so I think that's a resounding success for us as a program that says, hey, look, we can get these kinds of players that now weren't necessarily, I wouldn't say good enough, but those schools turned their nose up at these players. We took these players and we were able to help them move themselves forward. And so for them to be in position to be courted by those schools, I think is a good signal to our fans and our players that, like, you guys are worthy of this. You guys are really good, and yeah, they should want you. So hopefully we'll get some of them back, or we'll get all of them back. That's a continuing process, just like the whole recruiting process is.
You said a blessing and a curse.
Yes.
How so?
With regards to being the on-campus
Yes, sir.
candidate, well, you're here already, so you know the lay of the land. I've recruited here for 3 years, so I know how the institution works, the admissions, scholarship issues, what it costs, who my target audience is in terms of recruiting, and then the familiarity with the players. There's a trust level there for 3 years. You don't just get that because you have a name or you come from a big fancy school. And I've been at a big fancy school. I've been at a mid-major. I've been at a junior college. So I have a vast array of experiences that provide me the experience to know how to operate regardless of where I am. And so the ability to connect with these guys and build relationships on a true level, is certainly the blessing part of that. The curse is, we didn't win 50 games. If you win 50 games, the keys can be turned right over and you move on and nobody gets in the portal. But when you have a under 40 win season, there's going to be people out there that want you to go through a process. And so we had to go through that process. And like I said, ultimately, I believe we got the right person for the job.
How prepared were you ahead of the announcement for those first duties initially as head coach to re-recruit the people in the transfer portal and to really start to leave your mark on this program? How prepared in advance were you for that?
Oh, I anticipated this going to be a struggle from the very beginning. People can say one thing, but when the actuality comes of people trying to recruit and woo these players, that's just a reality of it. So I'm a realist that way. In no way, shape, or form did I automatically assume everybody was going to come back. So I was prepared for that. I mean, I've been doing this again for 25 years. So the ebbs and flows of recruiting and how you have to work continuously. It's a 24-hour-a-day job. And so, and I really mean that, it is. And so I was prepared for that. And that's why we are where we're at. I'm working to get those guys back as we speak. So
The 2022 class, for recruiting-wise,
Yep.
signing-wise, was 25th in the country.
Yep.
I mean, just what's your approach when it comes to recruiting, whether it's current players that you're trying to get back or just the guys in this class right now?
Well, the big R word, relationships, building a trust level, not only with the player but with the family. So, when they turn their son over to this program or to us as staff members or their teammates, they're going to want to know that they're taken care of. And if you don't build that trust level with, especially mom, dads are important, but like I always tell them, no offense, dad, this is about mom. If mom's not comfortable, there is no coming to Tulane or whatever other school you want to say. And so they need to feel that comfort. They need to feel that trust as much as they can, and they need to feel that relationship's pure and true. So I think when you act from a position of high integrity and you try to lay it out for people in the recruiting process to how it's going to be, it's vital that what you're laying out also matches when they get here, because people talk. It's a small world now, cell phones and all the stuff that you guys know, the social media. Those things are readily available for these kids moving forward. And so if you're not walking the walk and talking the talk and all the things that matter to them and the trust level, you might get away with some of that initially, but eventually that's going to come home to roost. So again, it's 100% about the relationships and the trust level with those folks when you're dealing with them, and that they can say, go take them, take this baton and run with it.
I've seen a lot of former players, especially, tweeting their support for you.
Yep.
What does that mean to you, and do you kind of see yourself as a player's coach, and how important is that to you?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I do see myself as a player's coach. I certainly understand the line that needs to be drawn when it comes to coach-player relationship. I'm going to have to, the dad has to say no every now and then, So that's my responsibility and that's my job. But in today's day and age, the old way doesn't always work anymore. That's people lose their jobs over those kind of things. And so the ability to communicate with these young men, to be able to let them feel like, okay, this guy cares about me, those things matter, because when you do have to go to the hammer and there has to be discipline and there needs to be a direction that maybe they don't like or they don't understand, they need to know that that's coming from a place of love and a place of their best interest is involved in that. And I think when you're fair and you're firm and you're consistent within that approach, I think that lends itself to guys being able to let their guard down and to be able to be who they are as people and players. And, at that point, I think you have the opportunity to create even deeper, more meaningful relationships, so that when guys do go in the portal, you have a chance to get them back. When you are asking them to do things that are uncomfortable, they're willing to do those kind of things. So that part for me, I'm very much a player's coach. And then the support of our former players has been overwhelming. It warms my heart and tugs at it for sure. I think without their support, without our current players' support and their families, while it can be overwhelming and so forth, just the fact that people went to bat for me is really critical in this process, and I'm forever grateful for that.
There has been an outpouring of affection from players, former parents, all of that. On the other hand, fans' reaction has been pretty negative. Travis, they were negative on him for the last 3 or 4 years. Is there any way to change that perception other than winning, or is that
that's certainly the big part of the recipe? But I think there's a lot of bridges to mend that way. We need to do a better job in the community, and that includes our players, that includes our staff, that includes our game day experience. Our young people, which my kids play in the local Carrollton leagues, and so I deal with a lot of families and a lot of kids, and those are your future stakeholders. Those are your future potential players. Those are the butts in the seat. So I think doing a better job to be inclusive that way is going to be really important. And then the other part is, and I said this earlier today, is if I'm paying to come into a place to watch a baseball game, why should I come back to pay again? And so our obligation is to play an exciting brand of baseball, to play a clean brand of baseball, and have a gritty, tough nature about us that people go like, let me put down my popcorn and my soda. I want to watch this game. I want to watch this guy hit. So we are going to have a lot to do with that. We can say all the things that we want to say and have any cliche that you want, but at the end of the day, it's going to really come down to what do we do about it? Like, what are we showing the people, the fans, the alumni, recruits for that matter, and then they're gonna make their decisions on how they're gonna spend their dollars. But we want to give them an opportunity to feel good about the dollars that they're spending to come spend a Friday, Saturday, Sunday here at Turchin, and know that they're gonna get good value for their money.
You've had 20 plus years now to kind of work on what would be in your book to operate from as a head coach. Can you give us the Cliff Notes version of what you will try to do as a head coach now, having things on a permanent basis?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been fortunate to work for a lot of really good baseball men, Hall of Famers, assistant coaches that are now head coaches. So I've been able to draw from a lot of different people in a learning environment. Things that I really like, things I don't like, ways I would treat people versus ways that I wouldn't treat people. And that's part of experience. You're able to have that environment and pick and choose what you want. So one day when you're standing up here and you have your team and you're able to affect and influence 35 people, you have that book. And so we're gonna play tough and gritty. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna be competitive. We're gonna practice that every single day that we're out here. We're gonna play an exciting, pressure-packed style of offense for whatever the game calls for. If that means, like I said this earlier too, if it's first and second and the fourth inning and Jackson Lynn's up, my hands are in my pockets. He can hit one over the scoreboard. So, but if it's the ninth inning and it's the winning run and the game says we need to do a certain thing, whether it's steal or hit and run or bunt for a hit or sacrifice or safety, whatever the game calls for at that time, we need to be able to do. And That's how I operate. Winning is the most important thing. I don't care about your batting average or your ERA or your wins or your losses. I care about the team's wins. That's the most important stat in the whole book. So.
Anybody that you've heard from in the last 24 hours, text, phone call, whatever.
500 of them. 500.
Are there some that stand out about the others?
I spoke with Coach Jones this morning. I'm going to call Coach Retief here later after I get done with you guys and try to connect with him. That phone call with Coach Jones was awesome. And just all the people that I've been fortunate enough over the years to interact with and build relationships with. It's been an overwhelmingly cool last 24 hours for me and my family, and just the outpouring of support from a lot of different people has been really special.
You mentioned the importance of winning. What's it going to take? What is the very next step to getting this program back to what it once was?
Getting the players back that we lost in the portal, re-recruiting all those guys. I mean, the players that are in your program are the most important, and so you win with players. Coaches lose games, players win games. So, I think that's going to be important moving forward. We're going to have to bolster our pitching. That's going to need to get better in a lot of different ways. And so hopefully I'm not trying to replace a bunch of guys that went into the portal. That's going to certainly dictate how and where we go about finding the answers to those questions. But you got to be able to pitch. We 2019, the year before I got here, we broke a bunch of offensive records, and we had a hard time keeping the ball away from opponents' bats. So offense matters, but pitching really matters.
I understand Daniel Latham will not be back.
Oh, I don't have any. No, I don't.
You haven't made a decision on that.
I'm still going through staff.
Two coaches to hire.
Still, yeah. You have to hire two coaches for sure. Yeah. So working through staff as we speak. So.
One other thing, you actually had a lot of success in your 2 years as a head coach, in 2000, 2001. Does it surprise you that it took this long to get back into this position?
Surprised. I mean, I can't control what others do. In this profession, there are a lot of circumstances out of control of coaches. It's alumni, it's media, it's pressure. It's everybody's got a short list of people they would hire. And so I can't speak to why it's taken this long, and I certainly appreciative of Jim O'Brien, who gave me a chance when I was 25 to be a head coach and lead that legendary junior college program that had 3 state championships and 17 conference titles. And so he felt good enough to give me that opportunity, and that's all you can ask for is an opportunity. And Troy's given me that opportunity now, and we're going to work every single day to make the people that are associated with Tulane really proud about who's wearing their uniform.